Welcome to AlphaCars and Ural of New England. Today, I'm very excited to share with you this new 2024 Ural Gear Up in this custom two-tone black and white color. This is actually the first bike we've had in this color, and we really like it. In this video, we're going to take a very close look at this Gear Up. We're going to learn about some of the standard features as well as the factory installed options, and just generally learn all about this very unique sidecar motorcycle. If you are interested in this Gear Up, it is available at the date of this video posting, so check that out in the description. There'll be a link. And if this bike is sold, don't sweat it, you didn't miss out. We always have a vast selection of new and used Ural motorcycles, and we do offer many shipping options. We have many shipping partners, so even if you're not local, but you still want to deal with Ural of New England, give us a call, 978-263-9000. We can make the buying process a very enjoyable one. But now, with all that being said, let's take a closer look at this black and white Ural Gear Up. First, let's take a close look at this color. The sun has come out, and I do apologize for any sort of weird lighting conditions or glare. I am working with the very bright sun today out here in New England. But back to the color, check out how deep that black shines, a very nice gloss black, and then with the white accent, it goes right along with the rest of the bike, how it has all the sort of black rims, it has sort of a satin black frame, and even the suspension, the drivetrain is powder coated black as well. We will get into that. That's one of the factory options. And we may be used to seeing this design as the terracotta and gray bikes. They have the same sort of design with those colors. But like I said, this is the first one we've had in this black and white color scheme, and we really like it. In my opinion, it's just a very classic looking color scheme on a very classic looking motorcycle. So I think it really fits. But let's just learn what this motorcycle is. You may be wondering, what is a Ural sidecar motorcycle? Well, it comes with the sidecar from the factory. It is designed to only be ridden with the sidecar. If you take the sidecar off, it is very not recommended. It's very unsafe to ride with the geometry of the frame and the front suspension design. So keep that in mind. What powers this bike? Well, it's a boxer twin or horizontally opposed twin, whatever you may like to call it. And it has a 4-speed gearbox with a real reverse gear. So there's a heel toe lever just right here. So you actuate that for the mechanical reverse gear. And then it has a heel toe shifter right here for those 4 forward gears. And this does have a twin plate dry clutch, and the gearbox has its own oil. It's not shared with the engine. So this is kind of like a car setup there, where you have engine oil, you have gearbox oil, and you have seals to keep them separate, and then it's a twin plate dry clutch, just like maybe a high performance car or automobile application as well, where you do the twin plate clutch to get all that clamping force, but still have a light clutch pedal, or in this case, you still have a light clutch pull. But with the weight of the Ural, especially if you're loaded up with gear or another person, you want all that clamping force, you want a tough clutch to really be able to handle all of those duties, and that it does. Let's look at the brakes now. Some very nice Brembo brakes on this motorcycle. 4-piston Brembo caliper in the front, and the rotor is drilled in a floating design. And looking at the back now, we have a twin-piston Brembo caliper, once again on a floating rotor, and it's drilled. And there is a separate caliper down there that's mechanical for the parking brake. And lastly, we have another very nice Brembo caliper on the sidecar wheel. Yes, the sidecar has its own hydraulic brake there, its own hydraulic circuit. Once again, a drilled rotor, floating design. And if we go back down here where our reverse lever was, we have our foot brake for the rear brakes, and we can see this nice trick linkage actuates the hydraulic circuit on the sidecar. So we have a reservoir here, and the master cylinder is under this very thick and substantial guard, so you don't kick it with your foot by accident there. So Ural, they really have thought of it all. It seems like they've been making these bikes for a long time, and continually refining them. And speaking of continually refining them, let's talk about recent changes. So this is a 2024 model, and there was really no change from the 2023 model, but the 2023 model got some very nice changes, including design and manufacturing improvements to the engine crankcase, and the Sidecar got a new CV joint drive shaft. So we can see the constant velocity joints there on both sides with the rubber boot to protect it. So this used to be a U-joint drive shaft. So now with the CV joints, we have a smoother rotation at all angles, and of course increased reliability and service intervals. So now with that rubber boot there protecting the joint, of course the really only maintenance you have to do is just check the boot, make sure it's not split or damaged, so you're losing grease, and kind of just monitor that as you would on your automobile. So that's an awesome improvement. And yes, they are two-wheel drive. I should have mentioned that just a couple minutes ago when I was telling you about the bike, but it does have on-demand two-wheel drive. And this lever right here is what you actuate, and then that locks the bike in two-wheel drive. It is sort of a locked differential, so both rear tires will spin at the same speed, and this is the final drive that gets locked, and this is the lever that does so. And the bike is shaft driven, so we can see this drive shaft here. You can see some of the some of the U-joints there. That comes out of the back of the gearbox and drives the rear end of the Ural. So sorry I didn't mention those couple of details a couple minutes there before I started talking about the improvements, but that's of course a very notable thing of the gear up. These bikes are really unstoppable in any sort of conditions. And then for 2022, they did get another very nice lineup of improvements, but most notably is the 2-in-1 high mount exhaust. So now we have all this ground clearance down here, so if you're on a rocky trail or in some deep ruts, you're not going to get hung up on the exhaust or do any damage. And look at the quality of this exhaust. Look at the welds here. We have all the heat shields, all the stainless steel hardware, a very thick and substantial exhaust hanger there with those rubber isolating washers to keep down on the vibration. So really just over-engineered, but in a good way. It's very heavy duty, and that's really what you want. You want something to be over-engineered and for longevity, not for complication. Now let's talk about the factory installed options. So this is what we sort of ordered this bike with. So we have the custom two-tone color, this black and white color, as we've already talked about. We have the black powder-coated drivetrain. So you can get the full drivetrain of the bike just in the kind of standard aluminum color, kind of like the color of part of the gearbox here. But we can see the full engine has been powder-coated black. And this is done before it's assembled. We can see all the gaskets and everything are all clean. Every single piece is powder coated before it's assembled, really done in a proper manner. Even the nice oil pan under here with those cooling fins, that's all powder coated. And we always order the bikes, our inventory with these, because the powder coated drivetrain really holds up great against corrosion and protecting that drivetrain against the elements. And we think it just looks great with all the rest of the black frame and accents on the bike. This bike also has the undercoated sidecar, all the fenders on the bike as well, and the sidecar tub inside of there. So this coating, let me explain what this is. We can see this line where it goes from sort of the smooth paint finish to this textured finish. And what this is a chip guard. So if you get a stone that kicks up and hits this, or even it'll protect against slight abrasion. It adds some flex to the paint is what it does. So the paint flexes a little bit and it doesn't chip off. Like you might find maybe on your car's hood, you get rock chips. That happens because a rock or a pebble flies up and it pinches the paint between the rock and the metal. The paint doesn't flex, it just chips off. This prevents that. It offers that a little bit of movement or flex in the paint, and then it stays on the bike. And this is applied, you can see the sort of line here. It's applied on the full underside of the sidecar, so we can see that textured finish. This coating does an awesome job fighting against rust as well, because of course it really protects the surface and prevents the paint from coming off, which then causes rust because the metal gets exposed. Under the sidecar fenders, we can see the textured finish there. So all three fenders, the two on the bike and the one on the sidecar, sorry about the tricky angle there, but we have the sidecar fender here. And lastly, inside of the sidecar as well. So the full inside tub of the sidecar, we can see the sort of line is here, even underneath the rubber mat there. And in the trunk, yes, this bike does have a trunk, and it is a very big one. It would even rival, I think, some small cars possibly, but we can see the full textured finish in there. So this does a great job, like I said, of protecting the metal, fighting against the rust, and of course, in the previous Urals without this coating, you did have to make sure to sort of monitor the moisture that gets under your mats and stuff in the sidecar to make sure to prevent any potential corrosion issues. But now with this undercoating, this chip guard, it really does a great job in helping to prevent that. And another factory option, actually the last one that this bike has, is the fuel tank storage compartment. So check that out. We've got the same ultra deep glossy finish of the bike's color inside of there, but we've got a lockable cover. I had it unlocked just so I can open it quickly for the video, and it fits a great deal of items in here. For a size reference, I have a Galaxy S22 Ultra, a Samsung phone, and it fits in there with room to spare. So if you look up the dimensions of that phone, you can kind of get an idea for how big this is. I'm sure Ural might have dimensions of how big this is anyways, but your modern big phone, your keys, your wallet, all that will go in here, no problem. It is weather resistant. It has a nice seal right here, and then with how the cover is designed, it kind of has these edges that go over and around the seal, so when the moisture hits it, it drops below the compartment opening, keeping it very moisture free in there for your belongings. Some of these standard gear up features, we have these awesome driving lights, LED driving lights. I can turn those on with the waterproof switch right here. Those offer a great deal of light, and I like that they're independently switched and always hot, so to speak. So then maybe you're at the campsite or you just need to light up something without having the bike ignition on. It does a great job helping you out there. And if we look, the wiring harness is run through the bumper, and then it comes out right here where it goes into the sidecar tub where there's a fuse panel. And that is something we do here at Ural of New England. So from the factory, this wiring harness comes on the outside of this, and it's just zip tied to the bumper. So it, in our opinion, it just doesn't look as clean as it maybe could. Or you're riding off-road, you're going through brush, that's gonna catch the wiring here and do some damage to it potentially. So what we do is we rewire the connection by drilling a hole in the back of the bumper. We apply touch-up paint, put a rubber grommet, and then we feed the harness through the bumper so it comes out at the end there, and it just looks so clean. And now the wiring is protected against the outside elements, the debris on the trail, and of course even the UV rays of the sun. And we can see the fuse panel in the sidecar. There's a European 12-volt outlet there. We do sell adapters to convert that to the American style on our online store, so keep that in mind. And there is an open switch here ready for you to add a circuit to add all your favorite accessories to the sidecar. And speaking of accessories, we sell hundreds and hundreds of accessories for these bikes on our e-store, uralne.com. So definitely check that out. We ship worldwide, ship right to your door, and we do run promotions from time to time, certain parts of the year, so keep that in mind as well. Always check back there for the latest Ural and Royal Enfield parts, as well as just maintenance items like OEM parts. Just shop there for service. Doesn't even have to be an expensive accessory or upgrade. If you just need some gear oil or an oil filter, just check it out, ships right to your door. Now let's take another closer look at this sidecar trunk. So I had shown you in here just a little bit before, but I didn't really comment on what's in here. So this is the tonneau cover, which was the protective cover for the sidecar. We started the video with that on, but I took it off before we started learning about the bike, because obviously inside the sidecar is very exciting. we have the factory toolkit. This isn't just a couple screwdrivers. It is really like a service kit. You can service almost anything on the bike with this toolkit, as well as with the owner's manual. If I get the camera to adjust for us there. That owner's manual, it isn't just how to start the bike and use the blinkers. That manual will tell you almost any service you need to do on the bike, explain it. It has wiring diagrams. It's like a shop manual, and it's included, with the bike free of charge. And then it also has a touch-up paint. So it's got 3 colors. We've got the white and then the gloss black for this outside painted surface. And then it has the sort of satin black for like the frame and the bumpers and things of that nature. But like I said, it has the textured chip guard sort of undercoating inside of there. And just look at how nice the paint finishes on the inside of the trunk lid. And we have these very heavy duty latches, stainless steel hardware. The bike's VIN and color code is just in there. And if we shut this and latch it, super heavy duty latch, satisfying to use. And there is a lock, so you can lock your goodies in the trunk there and not have to worry about someone, maybe investigating inside the sidecar trunk when you're not there. Of course, we've got the fuel canister here on the left side of the bike, and then the foldable shovel on the right side. And it does have a nice shovel cover that also does match the material of the tonneau cover there. And sorry if the video cut a little bit. This latch is kind of a 2-hand operation to open the trunk there, so I just had to do that quick. And on the full-size spare wheel, it has a nice heavy-duty rack here. You can put a ton of stuff on this, and if we see, it shakes the whole bike when I put some pressure on that. Very nice powder coating job on this. And I will talk more about the spare wheel. The hub is designed on the spare wheel where it fits all 3 locations on the bike. So whether it's on one of the rear locations, that's a driven wheel, or the front wheel, which obviously has a slightly different hub design because it's sort of just free wheels. There's no drive up there. It's made so it's all interchangeable. So no matter where you get a flat that's not repairable, you can just throw that on, whether you're on the road or on the trail. Talking about the warranty quickly, these do come with a 2-year unlimited mileage warranty, and you can get a 3rd year of factory warranty as well for a small cost. So that's very nice to have a 2-year unlimited mileage warranty, really class leading for most motorcycle manufacturers. You can see we have another Ural customer. I just talked with that gentleman, a very nice gentleman. He just picked up some new parts for his Ural. So I'm sure he's gonna have a blast installing those and a very satisfying time using them as well. So now let's go over the handlebars on the bike, show you the controls, and then we'll start it up. So we have a very heavy duty parking brake, all aluminum construction. This actuates that mechanical caliper I showed you earlier. And once you activate this thing, the bike is really not going anywhere. On our left grip, we have our clutch. The running lights are always on. We have flash to pass and then high beam. We have our blinker, our horn, all standard motorcycle things that we're used to. On this side, we have the front brake, the throttle, the run and kill, our electric start, and then our waterproof switch for the driving lights there. I will note the grips are very comfortable on these from the factory. They have kind of a nice knurled, grippy finish on them, or texture on them, but they are sort of a soft rubber. We can see I can flex it there. So it's a very comfortable ride. Now let's turn on our key. You see it does the gauge sweep there as I put it to the correct position. Only 8 miles on this bike as it was just built and then done a road test. And now all we have to do is just bump the starter and it starts right up, runs super smooth. Of course, these are fuel injected, and the fueling, the engine tuning on them is very nice. Really at any elevation or temperature, it's always gonna run sweet every time. You don't have to mess with any carburetor tuning or chokes, or even depending on the fuel quality you might get wherever you are, or if you're on a road trip with subpar fuel quality, the bike will just adapt accordingly with a modern fuel injection. And that's a whole other conversation. We know a lot of people who prefer the carbureted bikes. We know a lot of people who prefer the fuel injected bikes. Of course, there's always a preference there, but these new fuel-injected bikes are really so foolproof. You can just, as long as you put some stabilizer in the fuel when you store it, you really just hit the starter and you're off and away for the next riding season. Something I really appreciate. I love the new fuel-injected bikes for that reason. You don't have to take apart a carburetor and retune it really every season when a little bit of fuel might get in there and gum up one of the jets. And one last thing I'll mention, we have a gas pressurized steering dampener. I believe these have around 20 clicks of adjustment, so you can really dial in how firm you want the steering and how much feedback you'd like depending on if you're on the road or off the road. So that's another standard feature of the Gear Up there. So I think I've covered most things on the Gear Up. If you have any additional questions, feel free to leave a comment below or give us a call, 978-263-9000. As I said, we do have a vast inventory of these bikes, new and used. So if you have an idea of a bike you'd like to have us order for you, have us build up for you with certain accessories, like I said, just give us a call or send us an email. We're happy to talk with you there and make it a fun and enjoyable buying experience. So this has been Ian coming to you from our Boxborough location. Please leave a like on this video and subscribe so then you don't miss out on the latest Ural content.